Roughly 2 out of every 3 people on Earth will experience déjà vu at some point in their life. Almost none of them will ever learn why it happens, and almost none of them know that somewhere right now, there is a small group of people for whom this feeling has never once stopped, not for a single second. In years, you know the feeling. You walk into a room, or hear a sentence, or catch someone's expression at a specific angle, and for a second, you are certain, absolutely certain. You have lived this exact moment before, then it passes, 3 or 4 seconds, and it's gone, leaving behind a strange residue you can't quite explain to anyone else. For most of human history, nobody could explain it either. People called it a glimpse of a past life, a message from the dead, a crack in the fabric of time. The name we use now, déjà vu, is French for already seen, coined in 1876 by a man who couldn't explain it any better than the mystics had. Modern neuroscience has gotten closer. Not perfect, closer. The leading theory involves something almost embarrassingly mundane: a timing error. Your brain processes a new experience through 2 systems running almost simultaneously. One system registers what's happening right now. The other checks that moment against your stored memories, looking for a match. Normally, these 2 systems run in perfect sync. You don't notice them at all. Déjà vu happens when there's a tiny delay between them, a few milliseconds where one system fires slightly before the other. Your brain misreads the gap. It interprets the second registration as a memory of the first. The present moment briefly tags itself as the past. A few milliseconds. That's the entire phenomenon. A clerical error in your own skull. But the timing theory doesn't explain everything. It doesn't explain why déjà vu so often comes with an eerie sense of being able to predict what happens next. The feeling that you already know what someone is about to say, a half second before they say it. For that, neuroscientists point to a different theory entirely. Your brain doesn't store memories the way a camera stores video. It stores fragments: a smell, an angle of light, the shape of a doorway, the pitch of a stranger's laugh. When enough of those fragments reassemble, your brain reconstructs something that feels like a complete memory, even from a single matching piece. Walk into a new room that happens to share one detail with somewhere you've genuinely been before. Same slant of afternoon light, same layout of furniture, and your brain can mistake the partial match for the whole experience. Not a glimpse of the future, a reconstruction error, dressed up as prophecy. Both of these theories are reasonable. Both are probably partially true. But neither one was ever truly proven, not with hard evidence, until something happened in an operating room that nobody was expecting. In Montreal, decades ago, neurosurgeons were performing a specific kind of brain surgery, the patient awake and conscious the entire time, because surgeons needed her to describe what she felt as they worked, to make sure they avoided damaging anything essential. They touched an electrode to one precise point in her brain. She gasped. She said she had lived this exact moment before. Same room, same words, same feeling, down to the smallest detail. The surgeon touched the electrode again. It happened again. He had found the exact physical location of déjà vu, sitting in a small region called the Rhinal cortex, tucked near the brain's memory centers. He could trigger the sensation on command, like flipping a switch. Déjà vu wasn't a glitch in some vague metaphorical sense anymore. It was a specific, locatable, electrically triggerable event, sitting in a precise patch of tissue inside a living human brain. This discovery came from epilepsy research, because patients with a particular kind of seizure disorder frequently report intense déjà vu in the seconds right before a seizure begins. For them, it's not a curiosity, it's a warning. The same electrical irregularity that produces the eerie familiarity also signals that something larger is about to happen in the brain. For most healthy people, the same mechanism fires on a tiny, harmless scale, a brief electrical hiccup with no consequence beyond 4 strange seconds. For a small number of people, the mechanism doesn't stop at 4 seconds. There is a documented condition called chronic déjà vu, and it does not behave like the version you know. It doesn't pass. It layers itself onto every new experience, permanently. One of the most studied cases is a man who, in the mid-2000s, stopped watching the news entirely. Not because the news upset him, because every single broadcast felt like something he had already seen, word for word, before it aired. He wasn't confused about what year it was. He wasn't imagining it for attention. His brain had simply lost the ability to tag the present moment as new. Every conversation felt scripted. Every face felt already met. Every sentence felt already heard, a half-second before it was spoken. He described it later as living inside a memory he could never quite place. Not pleasant, not nostalgic, closer to drowning in a feeling with nowhere to surface. Cases like his have been linked to certain forms of dementia, to severe anxiety disorders, and to specific patterns of damage in that same small region the Montreal surgeons found decades earlier. What looks like a curious party trick at 4 seconds becomes something closer to a prison at 4 years. The difference between you and him isn't a different brain. It's the same mechanism, running for a different length of time. Think about what that actually means. The sense that something is new or already happened isn't some fixed, reliable fact your brain simply reports to you. It's a judgment call, made in milliseconds, by a small patch of tissue that can misfire, that can be triggered with an electrode, that can occasionally jam permanently for reasons doctors still don't fully understand. Your entire experience of the present moment, the feeling that right now is genuinely happening for the first time, is a label your brain attaches after the fact, not a fact in itself. Most of the time, the label is accurate. You walk through your day correctly tagging new and old as old, without ever noticing the machinery doing the work. But every so often, for 3 or 4 seconds, you get a glimpse of the machinery itself. A small malfunction lets you see, just for a moment, that now was never as solid as it felt. For most people, that glimpse passes, and the feeling of solid, reliable present-tense reality snaps back into place without a second thought. For a few people, the glimpse never ends, and nobody has fully figured out why.